All right, welcome back to another video with me, FPL Crusader. Today we're doing the Wildcard Draft Part 2. Last week, or a couple of days ago, we did defenders and goalkeepers. So I'll do a quick recap of that, and then we're going to look at midfielders, forwards, and then I've got a couple of drafts which I will be doing for my wildcard. One includes Haaland and one doesn't. The one that doesn't include Haaland looks much, much better. But like we did last week, or a few days ago, I should say, there are a few essential picks, assuming they're fit, that we need. In both teams, I've got Haaland. Oh, sorry, not Haaland. I've got Salah, Isaac, and Palmer. And one of the teams, I've got Haaland. So interchangeable, Haaland and Isaac. Basically, if you want Haaland, you can't have Isaac. I don't know. I should have just gotten rid of Palmer, to be honest, because he's been flunking recently, but I have a feeling he'll come back good. Chelsea have been a little bit disappointing over the last 3 or 4 game weeks, but I expect that to improve greatly. Just recapping what we did with the goalies. So the top 4 goalies I was considering were Henderson, Alisson, Onana, and Sells. We've got a bunch of the stats there, which you can view on the previous one. Sells and Pickford way out in front in terms of points. But Sells is the man to go with, I think, for me. So he's a bit of a no-brainer. I was thinking about a rotation between Sells and Onana. But can you really bank on the Manchester United defense? Onana is the 4th highest FPL goalie, but I think it's Henderson and Sells for me, giving Crystal Palace a good run. And they seem to dovetail in pretty nicely when Forest don't have such a great run as well. In terms of Alisson, it's just a little bit too far. Couldn't quite get there. In terms of defenders, obviously, if you want to go with the likes of Saliba or your Kanate, even if you want to go Trent, you need some enablers. The likes of Munoz and Kirkes and Hall, who I've highlighted here, aren't really enablers anymore. People have piled into them throughout the FPL community, and their prices have gone up. Look at Aina here. He started at 4.5. He's now 5.2. That's quite a big rise. Gabriel's gone up 0.4 as well. You can see on the left-hand side. Milinkovic and Murillo also up in the top 6 for defenders. It depends. It was a 50-50 for me who I went with in terms of Forest defense. It entirely was based on who I was having in my midfield and how much of those points, how much of that budget I had left over. But these are the ones under contention for me. Kanate started recently for Liverpool, so he's a good entry into the Liverpool side. As we can see from the fixtures there, come game week 23, they start looking a little bit better. So expect some clean sheets for Unslot's Liverpool. Kanate could be the one to go into there if you're trying to save some budget. Right, let's talk about the engine room, the midfielders. This is where the real magic happens, especially considering the changes in FPL points and bonus points. Do we go all in on the premium midfielders and Salah, Palmer, Sonny, Foden, hoping for their explosive returns? Or do we go for the differential picks like Semenyo and Brennan and maybe Madueke? We'll be analysing the form of these key midfielders, also considering their roles, their team's attacking potential, and their potential for captaincy. We'll also discuss the importance of finding value and building balanced midfield that can consistently deliver points. So because I'm pulling my wildcards so early, this team needs to last me until the rest of the season. I also need to find a viable game week where I can pull the bench boost. I've got 15 good players in the draft. I'll show you up soon, but the bench boost is important as well because I can't back that off I can't dovetail that into a wild card because the wild card is too early. What I've got on the screen here is the shots on target or total shots for each side. The reason why I've got Semenyo there is you can see Bournemouth are number 2 in terms of total shots, 240. They're just behind Manchester City, which is ludicrous considering you wouldn't expect Bournemouth to be out there, but the Cherries are doing really well. The top 7, and they're really attacking this season. Brennan Johnson is one of the top ones there for Tottenham, and they're on 5th, as we can see. And Newcastle are in 7th, but Gordon's form recently has been emphatic. Chelsea are 4th, but the reason why Madueke is there is he's getting a lot of those shots. I know Cole Palmer gets a lot of the shots, and so does Jackson, but Madueke gets way more shots than he really should for his price. No real other surprises there. West Ham's in 6th. I guess that you consider that a surprise, if you given their place in the table, but as much as I would like to see Fulham higher than 11th. We need to start getting more shots. That being said, our conversion rate must be good because we are scoring some decent goals. Nottingham Forest down in 12th for those Wood owners. He's probably the only one you go with there. A couple of people were talking about midfielders from Auckland Gibbs White or other options, but if you've got Wood, you probably don't need to double up. But yeah, so that's the attack for the midfield. Let's jump into the midfielders. So the ones I want to highlight now are Rodgers, Mbeumo, Sarr, Bruno, and Gordon. These are the 5 that I'm considering to complement Palmer and Mo Salah. So really for me, it comes down to which one of the enablers do I need? Is it Rodgers or is it Sarr? Looking at Sarr's fixtures, they're really good right up until game week 30, essentially. That being said, Rodgers has probably a more potential than Sarr for a double-digit haul. He's got 3 really plum fixtures from 23 to 25, and then they fall off a bit. So I think for safety reasons and the fact I don't want to bank transfers, I'm probably going to go with Sarr. But let's have a look at some of the stats here. In terms of goals and assists, Mbeumo's way out in front. He's got 13 goals. And then Bruno, Gordon, and Rodgers are all 11 or 10. Expect Gordon's numbers to pick up, and I would say Bruno as well. I would like to see Rodgers' numbers pick up. If Duran starts, goes back into a starting position, I think he'll probably take some of those opportunities. And I expect Sarr's underlyings to start converting very soon. It's frustrating if you own him. I own Munoz, and both Sarr and Munoz have really great underlyings, and they're getting a lot of shots. It's just unlucky at the moment. Let's have a look at the points. Obviously, it's Salah. He's way out in front. He's almost got 300 points. 266, if I read that right. Maybe my eyes aren't too flash. Palmer's second, and Mbeumo, as I said, he's a real consideration, but I just can't get there yet, given the budget, because I'm rocking Bruno Fernandes currently, and I think the Mbeumo to Fernandes transfer, that's the only one I really have booked in. That'll be for game week 25. And then I might swing Rodgers or Sarr, depending on how they're going, to a Mad in 27 or even 29 if I have to, given the fact that these are the fixture ticker, the FDR fixture ticker from FPL Team. It's also got the projections from James from Planet FPL. So jump onto FPL Team for all your planning fun, and you can see the fixture tickers there as well. These are the ones we've got down there. XGI in terms of the 5 on screen, Mbeumo again, and Bruno and Gordon. Expect Bruno's to increase. Expect Gordon's to increase. Sarr and Rodgers, they're probably not as involved as you'd expect. In terms of bonus points, Brian Mbeumo way out in front, 20 points, just phenomenal. Bruno's got the 12, and Rodgers has 11. So Gordon doesn't get as many bonus points as you think because he's competing with Isaac. He's competing with Hall recently. So whereas Bruno, as we know, he's always been a penalties. He's always been a bonus point magnet. But we can't have them all. So for me, I think I'll stick with Palmer and Salah. I really want Gordon, and that limits me to the amount of other premiums I can have. I'm having Bruno as well. And as we can see from the points there, that's 4 out of the top 8 in terms of points. So that has to mean something moving forward. Rodgers and Sarr are a bit lower. They're under 100. Sarr's well under 100. He's a bit of a punt. So he's my main punt for this wild card. Previous seasons, I've gone 2 punty. I've had maybe 1 or 2 punts in every line, defenders, attackers, and mids. But now I think I'm just going the 1. And it will be Sarr because of that upside. And if he doesn't go after the next 3 or 4 games, then I can always go to Rodgers, or as I said, I can go to Ahmad. But I think this is the right way to go. I really want Mbeumo. I'm scared of what he's going to do to me. He might destroy City this week, but I think Liverpool, Tottenham, he's not guaranteed to get goals. So he had a rough trot of it before the last couple of game weeks. So I'm happy to forego him for now, but I'll show you that a little bit later. Let's jump onto the forwards. Attack, as we say. We're looking at shots for individuals here, and it also says shots on target and the goals. As we know, Erling Haaland has the most shots, second most goals, and he has the most shots on target as well. Mo Salah has probably got a better conversion rate if you look at him in second there. Interestingly enough, Antoine Semenyo, who didn't feature in my top 5 because of Bournemouth's upcoming fixtures, they're really tough, but if you wanted a pure punt, considering Evan Nielsen and Unal are both injured, he will probably be playing up front. Just their fixtures just aren't flash, so it's tough. Cole Palmer's there in fourth. No brainer. If you don't have him, get him in. Ollie Watkins, as I said to you, Noni Madueke is in sixth. Alexander Isaac, Cunha, and the list goes on. So expect Alexander Isaac to keep going up that list in terms of shots and in terms of goals. And when Cunha's fixtures turn, like they did a few weeks ago, when they turn for the positive, expect people to pump back in there. So the top five strikers I'm considering are Pedro, Mateta. I really like to get to Mateta, but I can't afford him. He's shockingly expensive. That's why I've got Saar. He's well over 7 mil. Raul Jimenez, the mighty Fulham man. Cody Gakpo, who's looking really dangerous, and Cunha. As you can see, glaringly obvious there, the big purple, the big pink thing in Cunha is bonus points. He's got 25 bonus points. He's number 3 for bonus points. He's smashing out those. He's got 14 goals. And he's got 8 XGI as well. So doing really well. The next best in goals will be Pedro and Raul, who have both got 10 this morning in a cup game against Watford. Jimenez converted another penalty. He's in great form. So if you've got him, stick to him. In terms of bonus points, he's got 16. Pedro's got 15. And then Gakpo and Mateta have got 12 and 11. That being said, Gakpo and Mateta weren't starting every game of the season. So take that into account. I don't have per 90 stats. Looking at the fixtures, Brighton's fixtures look pretty good, but as we know, they don't do very well against teams that are below them. They tend to score more and play better against teams that are above them. They're the opposite of a flat track bully, and Pedro would benefit from that. So against Ipswich, I'm not really sure how he's going to go. He's also injury flagged from rolling his ankle midweek, so just take that into account. Crystal Palace have a great fixture run right up until 28. They've also got Southampton in game week 30 as well, so something to consider. Fulham's fixtures for the next two look sweet. As I said, Cunha's fixtures don't look that flash. They turn in 28. That's something a lot of the FPL community will consider, especially considering his recent form and goals he scored. And Cody Gakpo is just playing exceptionally well. In terms of the points, well, it's Isaac Wood, Cunha, Jackson, and Watkins who are taking most of the points this season. Funnily enough, there's only 4 strikers who are over 100, considering Mo Salah's almost at 300. Just shows you how good the bro is playing. So Mateta's not on here. As I said, he didn't start a lot of the games at the start of the year. Cunha's there. I haven't put Wood on here because and Isaac on this one because I think they're not essential, but they're no-brainers. If you can fit them in, throw them in. And then Haaland is up there, but it's just the money, eh? Just the money for Haaland. I'm not really sure if I want to extend to it. And speaking of the big man, let's have a look at my draft I've compiled with Erling Haaland. So he's front and center. Well, he's actually on the left, but he's front and center of this team. So it's a Haaland draft. There's no Isaac. There's no Wood. There's no Bruno. I was able to get a premium keeper in Becker and Allison, I should say. Defense is very light on. And there's decent mids, but you got Dibbling there as well. So whether or not you want Dibbling in terms of having one of the least attacking team in the league, I'm not really sure. The bench is pretty weak, so my bench boost for this team just wouldn't be that good. Let's run it through for Allison, and then Dan Burn, Van Heck, who's decent fixtures, I guess. Mizraoui from United, Ahmad from United, Palmer, Salah, Gordon. So we're able to keep Gordon. That's good. So if you lose Isaac, keep Gordon. We've got Haaland, Pedro, and Raul, but Pedro might need to change. Now, getting another Pedro replacement at that price will be very difficult. It just puts me in too much of a place, too much of a hole, really, because if I had to get rid of Pedro, I'd have to go right down to someone I don't really want them to play. So Huijsen and Morella on the bench, that's fine. They can be on the bench moving forward. And Fabianski, he's only 4.1, and he's on the bench basically just to enable my team. And then, because you can't really bank on the West Ham defense. And I'm probably going to pay Allison every week anyway. So that was my Haaland draft. I'm not really too convinced on it, to be honest. I can probably tweak it a few times and make it look a bit better, but yeah, I like the fact I got Murillo. He is a bonus points magnet. He's probably up 20, 30 points behind Ola Aina, but he is a bonus points magnet, and neither of them get attacking returns. So now that he's playing consistent games, I think they'll be fine. Dan Burns a bit of a worry. He's 6'7". He looks interesting, but he doesn't get onto the end of headers enough for me. Like if he's that tall, get onto the end of a header. And Van Heck, well, we know what Brighton's defense is like, so that's probably an oversight from me. Yeah, it's okay, but I wouldn't want to set this team up for the next 17, 18 game weeks and expect a good result. This is the team I'm currently set on now. I've got a 2-keeper rotation with Henderson and Sells. Essentially, it's just Henderson there in case Sells get injured. Henderson's still cheap. He's 4.5, and he's got a good fixture this week at Leicester. And then I've got Sells at home to Southampton. After that, I've gone light on defense, but there is a lot of defense rotation that can help. I've got Timmy Castagna, Timmy Chestnuts as we call him. I've got Munoz from Crystal Palace and Hall from Newcastle. On the bench, I've got Murillo from Forest, and I think Huijsen, how do you say it? Dean Huijsen from Bournemouth. So he's there because he's a bonus point magnet. I expect people to pile into him in game week 25, and I didn't want to bank a transfer. He can sit third on my bench for an extended period of time, and then when it comes to him having the good fixtures, I can play him. I can also bench boost him as well. I know he's going to play, and he does like to get bonus points, so that's why I'm sticking with him. I love my midfield here. Bruno Fernandes, Cole Palmer, Ismaila Sarr, Gordon, and Salah. So that's a pretty good midfield. I really wanted Brian and Mbeumo, but I just couldn't get him in. The only way I could dovetail it would be to take out Bruno and bring in Ahmad, and then I can pump up Sarr to Mbeumo. But then I wouldn't have any Crystal Palace attacking cover for the one good run they're having through the season, and they're in form. So it just makes sense for me to have Munoz, Henderson, and Sarr from Crystal Palace. As I said, Henderson will go on the bench. I won't be playing double Crystal Palace defense too much longer. It'll be double for Nottingham Forest offense, or defense, I should say. Includes the offense. I got Isaac and Wood up here as well. So I got Isaac, Raul, and Wood. Raul Jimenez, I should say. So that's a front three that's rotatable. Raul and Woody. But Woody will be playing not against Liverpool. Jimenez is in such good form, but I expect Jimenez to be benched against, I think it's Leicester, in game week 22, which is only 3 days after the game week 21 deadline. Munoz can step in for him, and then in my team, Wood can step in for him as well. And then I'll play Murillo over probably Timmy Chestnuts as well, because he is an attacking threat, but I wouldn't say he has to play every game, especially the away games. He's just enabling us this week. So there's the team. I think it looks pretty good. I think that's how I'm going to set my team moving forward. That's what it's set like on the FPL website now. I've set this on FPL team. And yeah, if you're not using FPL team, you're missing out. Let me know in the comments if you think this is a good FPL team. If not, then any changes I should do. But to recap, I've got 3 Forest, I've got 3 Newcastle, I've got 3 Palace for their good run. I've got room to move to get to Kanate. I've got room to move to get to an Arsenal defender in Timber, who's my favourite Arsenal defender. And if I really have to pull the team apart to get funds, if I want an Arsenal attacker, if they start going well, or a City attacker, then I can always pull Isaac whilst keeping Gordon, and then go down that route to Havertz, or do a double hokey cokey and bring in Saka when he's fit. But I think the team looks pretty good now. There's a couple of good pivot points I can do, and I can run this team through a few game weeks, injury dependent, which means I can bank a few transfers, something I haven't been able to do for this entire season. As I said, I like where this team sits. I feel loyal. I've got 2 Fulham players. I'm a Fulham supporter. So for now, Timmy Chestnuts and Raul will play. Next week they won't. But then after that, I think we'll be looking good moving forward. Cool. That was my game week 21 transfer part 1 and part 2 done. Thank you for watching. If you watch both of them, I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all during the week in the lead up to game week 21. Thanks very much.